You're watching France24. It's time now for our daily look at the international press. Ruben Easy joins me in the studio. Good morning, Ruben. We're doing a special focus on Germany, of course, across France24 today. So you've been looking at the German papers for us, and there's one name dominating everything, Joschka Fischer.
Very much so. The former foreign minister. Yeah, I think he's known to a lot of people outside of Germany for his rather public dressing down of Colin Powell in the run-up to the Iraq War. Won him a lot of fans in Germany and around the world, I think. But he's always been one of Germany's most popular politicians, and he's just written his autobiography called A Red and Green Year. Not quite sure how that translates, but anyway, as you'd expect, he's all over all the papers in Germany, doing a bit of plugging for that book and all sorts of interviews. Now he's had an interesting life. He was a sort of far left-wing figure in his youth, a friend of Daniel Cohn-Bendit, the man that led the '68 protest here in Paris. He's had 5 wives, and in these interviews he's sort of talking about some of these ups and downs. Asked about his toughest moments of his career, which he describes as the decision to support the NATO intervention in Kosovo. Obviously a big deal for Germany. It was the first time they'd had soldiers involved in any kind of foreign campaign since World War II. But he did it again in Afghanistan, and he's very much in these interviews saying how he sort of moved away from the more left-wing ideas of his youth, realising that this is really what Germany needs to do in the modern world. He's also picked up on his approach to foreign policy. Now, when he was there with under Chancellor Schroeder, Germany was rather less critical of Russia and China in particular than Angela Merkel has been nowadays. She's been quite forthright with their human rights and so on. He's asked if this is the way to go, and he simply says, well, Germany is unlikely to ever get the seat on the Security Council, which it very much wants if it keeps up this sort of criticism. So sort of an interesting balanced view there.
So Joschka Fischer everywhere, but elsewhere, Franco-German historian Albert Grosser is in Stern. Tell us about that.
Yes, now he's quite a famous historian. He's rather elderly now, but he was born in Germany, but was Jewish and fled during the persecution of the Jews in the 30s, came to live in France, so he's very well known here as well too. Now this interview has a rather provocative title saying Israeli policies encourage anti-Semitism. Now this, of course, the ultimate sensitive subject, I suppose, in Germany. Now he's basically accusing German papers of self-censorship with regard to the Israeli-Palestinian conflict, saying that they'll never criticise Israel, and saying that Germany, in a sense, has a sort of collective mental block on this issue, obviously because of its history, and that they're unable to see the conflict with the sort of clear view that's required.
Now, Germany, of course, hit the headlines as well with their rather beautiful film, The Lives of Others, recently. I know we've both seen that, about life behind the Iron Curtain in East Germany, but German directors are having quite a lot of success lately in general, aren't they?
They are. This is a piece in Der Spiegel. Now, it points out, saying, of course, there was a bit of a German golden era back in the 30s, the Expressionism, Fritz Lang, all that sort of thing. Since then, it's really not much been going on for German directors in Hollywood, been considered always a bit of a backwater, but that has changed, I think, since The Lives of Others. There's a chap called Oliver Hirschbiegel. He made the film called Downfall, about the last days of Hitler. Now he's just got a film coming out with Nicole Kidman, which he's been making in Hollywood, and he's part of a real vanguard of German directors going to work there. He sums it up by saying Hollywood is rather like you're a footballer and you get the call from Real Madrid or Bayern Munich. They're simply too big to turn down. So that seems to be the way it's going for them.
And very briefly, Ruben, take a look at the quick German tabloids.
Yes, this is Bild, big screaming red top. It'll be familiar to many readers of British newspapers, I would think. And like the British tabloids, very interested in the British royal family. Piece from their rather grand-sounding correspondent, Alexander von Schönberg, all about the exploits of Prince Harry. England's shame, Prince Harry with some rather unprincely behaviour, drinking too much.
Well, we probably wouldn't even ever see that in the British press, those pictures. Thank you for sharing them with us, Ruben Easy, for that review of the German press.